Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 280-279, Nixvile, the Staff of Reversal. Her tears roll freely, but her gaze, it is becoming hollow, empty. Alex sees her eyes, but he cannot bend here. He cannot show hesitation. His voice turns cold, unyielding. Give me an answer. The wind stirs her hair. The warriors around her wait, breath held, every ear straining for her choice. Valira swallows, her voice soft but firm enough to echo in the heavy silence. As the new leader of the Ashedge clan, we will uphold my father's wish. She closes her eyes, as though forcing herself to sever what remains of her heart. When she opens them again, the tears still fall, but her words no longer tremble. Our clan will submit to the Eravaris kingdom and become your subordinates. The wall is quiet, save for the sounds of warriors falling to their knees, the clatter of armor and weapons ringing like muted bells. The surrender spreads not just as an act of will but as inevitability. Alex studies her carefully, the faintest shadow passing across his expression. The choice costs her dearly. He can see it in the way her hands tremble, in the hollowness creeping into her gaze. He steps closer, the weight of his presence pressing down on the wall until even the hardened warriors dare not raise their heads. Because you chose the right thing, Alex says, his tone even, carrying no trace of triumph. I will give you a gift. Murmurs ripple among the Ashedge warriors. A gift? From the monster who just erased their leader and their mountains? None understand, and none dare ask aloud. Alex lets his gaze sweep across them before returning to Valira. Though humans may hold a lower status than monsters within my kingdom, you are still my people. Your lives belong under my banner, and I do not discard what is mine. He lifts a hand, and with a flicker of dark light, something appears in his grip. A staff. Its shaft is wrought from blackened bone, runes crawling across it like living worms of pale silver. At its crown rests a crystal orb, dark and hollow, as though it devours the light around it. A faint, mournful wail seems to hum from within the staff itself, pressing against the minds of those nearby. Even the most battle-hardened warriors instinctively recoil. Valira grips the wall for support, her lips parting as unease twists in her chest. What are you going to do? The staff hums with a low, unsettling vibration, as though the stone beneath their feet resonates with its presence. Alex runs a finger along the bone-carved shaft, his expression calm, almost detached. This is Nixvile, the Staff of Reversal. To most of you, it may look cursed. Perhaps it is. But power is rarely comforting. The warriors nearest to him instinctively step back. One drops his weapon, the clatter loud in the tense silence. Even Valira's breath hitches. Her instincts scream danger, yet her eyes stay locked on him, unable to turn away. Alex lowers his gaze to the orb at the staff's crown. For an instant, something flickers there. Shadows pulling inward, coalescing into a spiral of pitch-black light. It is not fire, nor frost, nor lightning, but something older, something that feels as though it should not exist. He speaks, his voice steady. You chose surrender. You chose survival, not pride. And for that, I return what was taken. Valira's lips part, confusion clouding her grief. Return? Alex plants the butt of Nixvile against the stone wall. The orb glows with a pulse that seems to drain warmth from the air. A ripple of darkness spreads out, crawling across the ground like liquid night. The warriors tense, but none move. They are paralyzed by awe and fear. The shadow pools where Velkane's body should be, but there is nothing left. No ash, no bone. Only the echo of his existence. And yet, the orb flares. The shadows twist. A form begins to rise. First mist, then flesh, then armor. Breathless gasps erupt from the Ashedge warriors as they see what should be impossible. Velkane's figure, kneeling, whole, alive. His chest rises sharply as he sucks in his first ragged breath. Valira stumbles forward, covering her mouth with trembling hands. Father? Velkane lifts his head, his eyes wide, disoriented. His voice rasps, broken from the silence of death. Valira? The staff's glow dims. The shadows retreat back into the orb, leaving Velcane alive, whole, kneeling in stunned silence. Alex withdraws the staff, his face unreadable. He doesn't explain the item, doesn't reveal its limits, doesn't tell them this miracle can only be used once a month. To them, it is something greater, a godlike act. He meets Valira's stunned, tear-streaked eyes. Do not mistake this for mercy. It is responsibility. Your clan belongs to me now, and I do not waste what is mine. Valira drops to her knees, sobbing, torn between relief and dread, her heart breaking in ways she cannot name. Behind her, the warriors are too stunned to move, their faith in everything they knew shattered a second time. Alex stands over the staff a moment longer, the blackened runes faintly glowing, then exhales quietly through his nose. Inwardly, he cannot help but reflect. Nixvile, the staff of reversal. In this world, it radiates dread, awe, and mystery. But to him, it is little more than an old tool gathering dust in his inventory. Not a Tier 6 artifact, not some legendary Tier 9 treasure. In the game, it had been classified simply as a special artifact. Rare, yes, but not powerful in the way most imagined. Its function is absolute yet narrow. One ability, one purpose, to revive the fallen, any being so long as they are not Tier 7 or above. That is all. Its cost? A cooldown of 1 month before it can be used again, and 10 million gold coins. His eyes, cold and steady, shift from Velcane to Valira. Remember this, he says. I revive what I choose. I destroy what I choose. The air is still trembling from the echo of his words. Valira's lips quiver, but she cannot speak. Her tears blur the sight of him, but her heart memorizes the weight of his presence as he turns away. Alex's black cloak stirs as he rises slowly into the air, hovering just above the wall. The Ash-Edge warriors, still kneeling, dare not raise their eyes. Even Velcane, reborn and breathing heavily, lowers his head in silence. Alex drifts backward, his figure dark against the burning horizon, until he reaches the edge where his forces wait. Mazel steps forward, kneeling deeply as the shadow of his master falls over him. Let's go back, Alex says evenly, his voice carrying not just to Mazel but across the silent battlefield. As you command, your majesty. Mazel replies, his tone steady though the embers of awe still burn in his chest. Without another glance at the wall, Alex turns, his silhouette vanishing into the looming shadow of the massive floating vessel that hangs like a fortress in the sky. The boat's dark hull glimmers faintly with warding runes, swallowing him into its hold. Her hand tightens at her chest, as though steadying the storm inside. The battlefield's distant roar fades in her ears, replaced only by the echo of his shadow. Unshakable, untouchable. For a moment, her lips curve in a bitter smile. What kind of man are you, to break me and lift me up in the same breath? The next day, across the Empire's subordinate forces, palaces, clan halls, and fortresses, the same message spreads like wildfire, carried by trembling spies, written in hurried script, whispered in torchlit rooms. The Ash-Edge clan has submitted, their leader slain, their heiress bent the knee, and before all their eyes, Velcane was brought back from death itself by the king of monsters. In the great stone hall of the Valar kingdom, the council gathers. The king slams the report down, his voice shaking with disbelief. This is madness. One attack destroyed the mountains? A staff that revives the dead? Do you expect me to believe this? His minister, pale and sweating, bows his head. Your Majesty, the words are absurd. But the spies swear it is true. They describe the same thing, down to the very breath. Then they are liars. The king roars. Or worse, already enthralled by this monster king. In another land, deep in the Jadefong clan's mountain hold, the clan head sits in silence as his elders argue around him. One elder slams the table, snarling, "The Ash-Edge were stronger than us. If they bent, what chance do we have?" Another spits back, "Cowards! They should have fought to the last drop of blood." A third, voice trembling, whispers the part that silences them all. "He revived Velcane. Dead one moment, alive the next. Tell me, elders, if such power is true, what is left for us to resist with?" The chamber falls silent. The head of the Jadefong narrows his eyes at the lone candle flickering before him, its flame bending in the stillness. His voice cuts low, edged with suspicion. "And where is the Empire?" he mutters. "Why are they still so quiet?" Chapter 281-280. The Five Leaders, Part 1. A wide chamber glows dimly under the soft light of crystal lamps. Maps and scrolls litter the obsidian table at its center, their inked lines showing the Empire's domains and the scattered forces that once swore loyalty to it. Alex sits at the head of the table, his posture relaxed but his presence pressing down on the room like a weight. The dark aura that clings faintly to him makes even silence feel alive. Across from him, Gander leans forward, his hand resting on the edge of the table, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Your Majesty," Gander begins, voice low but firm, "your plan works." The flames of surrender spread faster than fear itself. 5 forces have already contacted us through secret messengers. Each of them has offered to bend the knee in exchange for their survival. Alex's gaze doesn't shift from the map. He taps one finger against the symbol of a fortress marked in the southern frontier. Which ones? The Ironfang clan, the Blackspire kingdom, the Wessian kingdom, Kalen clan, and Raidel kingdom. Gander lists smoothly. His tone hardens as he adds, "They all see what happened with the Ashedge clan. No one can ignore it." Alex leans back slightly, the faint glimmer of thought passing behind his cold eyes. 5 already. That leaves only the top 10. Yes, Gander nods. The strongest clans. The most stubborn kings. They still cling to the Empire's silence as if it were a shield. His lip curls, almost amused. But that silence has become their greatest fear. The Emperor does not move, and so they wonder if they've already been abandoned. Gander's words hang in the chamber, thick with unspoken weight. Alex finally lifts his gaze from the map, the dim glow of the crystal lamps catching the sharp edge of his eyes. He drums his fingers once against the obsidian surface, then stills them. "My lord," Gander continues, lowering his head slightly in deference, "they will arrive tomorrow. Their leaders will personally come, desperate to offer their submission before the tide drowns them as it did the Ashedge." Alex's lips curve faintly. Not a smile, but something colder, sharper. "That is good." He rises from his seat, the hem of his cloak whispering across the stone floor. His voice, calm yet commanding, carries through the chamber without the need for force. "Prepare feasts, offer gifts, but what they must see is not our hospitality, but our strength." Gander inclines his head, a flicker of approval glinting in his eyes. "Understood, Your Majesty." The next day, the gates of Zark City groan open under the pull of massive chains, the sound echoing like a war drum. Dust rises as 5 processions approach, banners lowered, guards tense. The leaders of the Ironfang clan, the Blackspire kingdom, the Wessian kingdom, the Kalen clan, and the Raidel kingdom ride at the front of their entourages, each face carved with unease though their backs remain rigid with pride. They expect to see cruelty, chains, and humans beaten into the dirt. They expect the proof that surrender means disgrace. Instead, their eyes widen as they pass through the gate. The streets are alive, not with fear, but with order. Merchants call out prices at their stalls. Smiths hammer steel in steady rhythm. Children carry baskets of bread. Humans move quickly, bowing their heads whenever a monster passes. But not one of them carries bruises, not one wears chains. If anything, there is too much respect. Every human they see bends deeply, not out of terror from a whip, but as if reverence has been drilled into their bones. The Queen of Raidel mutters under her breath, I didn't expect this at all." The Blackspire king narrows his eyes, watching a human baker hand bread to a towering ogre. The man bows low, voice steady, even warm. "May strength continue to guide your day, sir." The ogre grunts, nodding once before moving on. No blows, no insults. The Ironfang chief's jaw tightens. "They're not slaves." His gaze sharpens. "They're like a loyal dog or something." The Wessian king scoffs, though the sound is thin. "Loyal? Look at them. That's not loyalty. That's fear polished into obedience." Lord Kalen of Kalen clan leans from his saddle, eyes sweeping across the avenues where monster patrols march in perfect formation, armor gleaming, their presence heavy but controlled. His lips press into a line. "Call it what you will, fear or loyalty, it is effective, and it binds them tighter than chains." The leaders continue deeper into Zark City, the sound of hooves muted against the polished stone roads. Their entourages glance nervously at the monsters lining the streets. Hulking ogres, sharp-eyed harpies perched on rooftops, even insectoid warriors carrying spears taller than men. But what truly shakes them isn't the number of monsters. It's their strength. Many of the monsters they pass radiate the aura of Tier 4. Some glow even stronger. On one corner, a band of adventurers laugh together outside a tavern. Their equipment well-maintained, their movements confident. The leader, a silver-haired beastman in blackened steel, carries himself with the effortless pressure of a Tier 5. Around him, his companions, all Tier 4, carry blades, bows, and staves with an ease that marks them as veterans. The humans bow as they pass, offering small tokens of food and drink. The adventurers accept them with nods, not lording their power over the humans, but standing above them like guardians. The sight sends ripples through the 5 rulers. King Ravik pulls his reins tighter, his lips thin. His eyes linger on the adventurer band as they disappear into the crowd. Monsters this strong, walking the streets as common folk. A Tier 5 adventurer, leading a group of Tier 4s, casually drinking in the open. He shakes his head slowly. These monsters truly are from another continent. And this kingdom, he exhales sharply. It looks more powerful than the empire itself. Queen Salira of Radel glances sharply at him. Careful with your words. But Ravik doesn't relent, his gaze still burning into the streets. Tell me I'm wrong. Look around you. In the empire, a single Tier 5 would be scouted nonstop. Here, they are adventurers. Just another group among many. Chief Gorvok of the Ironfang clan grunts, his tusked mouth curling downward. He's right. My clan has a 50 Tier 5s in total, and they guard our stronghold. Yet here, they roam freely buying ale. Lord Kalen of the Kalen clan narrows his eyes. His voice is calm, but there's a tension beneath it. That is the difference. The empire hoards its strongest as symbols. But here, strength flows everywhere. Common soldiers, guards, adventurers. It is not centralized, it is alive. King Malric of Blackspire remains silent for a long while. His dark gaze sweeps over the sight before him, the disciplined monster patrols moving with precision, the humans bowing low not out of terror but with a strange, steady reverence. Fear and respect woven seamlessly together. At last, his voice slips out, low and bitter, meant more for himself than those beside him. If this is what we are fighting, then to resist is nothing but madness. The others hear the words but do not answer. The truth of them sits heavy in their chests. Ahead, the shadow of the castle looms larger, its black spires stretching toward the sky like spears. The banners of the Monster King ripple in the wind, and the closer they draw, the more they feel it, that oppressive weight, that presence. As if the city itself is preparing to remind them why they are here. The palace rises before them like a living fortress, its obsidian walls veined with glowing runes that pulse faintly, as though the entire structure breathes. Twin statues of winged beasts guard the gate, their stone eyes burning faintly with enchanted fire. The air here is heavier, charged, and even the entourages lower their voices to hushed murmurs. At the foot of the massive stairs, a figure stands waiting. A towering soldier in crimson and black armor, his helmet crowned with jagged horns. The pressure radiating from him is suffocating, Tier 6, unmistakably. His mere presence makes their horses snort and shift nervously, and the entourages instinctively bow their heads to avoid his gaze. The soldier's voice rolls like thunder, calm yet filled with weight. Leaders of Ironfang, Blackspire, Wheezia, Kalen and Radel, his crimson eyes narrow within the helm. You stand at the threshold of His Majesty's domain. From here on, your words are your bonds. Tread carefully. Chapter 282, 281. The 5 Leaders, Part 2. Chapter 282. Chapter 281. The 5 Leaders, Part 2. The rulers exchange tense glances, pride warring with the instinct to bow lower. Then, with a sweep of his gauntlet arm, the commander turns and gestures toward the great doors of the palace. The massive door opens slowly, their carved reliefs of beasts and battles illuminated by firelight within. Boots thud against polished stone as the Tier 6 commander strides ahead, leading them through the massive archway and into the echoing corridors of the palace. The air is colder here, the weight of the structure pressing down as if the walls themselves were alive. The 5 rulers follow in silence. Their entourages were left behind outside. At last, Chief Gorvok of Ironfang clears his throat, his gravelly voice breaking the silence. Sir, if you don't mind me asking, he rumbles, as he studies the broad back of the armored giant. What rank are you? With that kind of aura, you must be one of the marshals, yes. The commander does not slow, his voice steady, carrying through the corridor like rolling stone. I am not a marshal. I am only a commander. The words hang in the air, heavy. The rulers exchange startled glances. King Ravik narrows his eyes, disbelief slipping into his tone. Only a commander? A Tier 6 like you? In our lands, one of your strength would sit beside the throne itself. The commander lets out a low chuckle, the sound echoing against his helmet. Then your lands are small. He glances back, crimson eyes gleaming faintly. From what I heard, there are only 5 marshals in His Majesty's kingdom. Each one, far beyond me. The rulers fall silent, the enormity of that truth settling like a boulder in their chests. Salira tilts her head slightly, her voice calm but edged with curiosity. If Tier 6 is merely a commander, then what does that make the generals? The commander finally stops in the vast hallway, torchlight flickering across the crimson plates of his armor. He turns slightly, his helm casting his expression in shadow. But his voice carries clear, steady, and sharp. Well, he says, being a general, there are two paths. The rulers lean in without meaning to, their breaths tight. The commander raises two thick fingers. The first, become a general as a tier 5. But for that, you must be close to His Majesty. Trusted. Connected. The second finger lowers, knuckles creaking against the gauntlet. The second, for those of us who came later, you must climb. Accumulate military points in campaigns. Then, and only then, if you reach peak tier 6, you may be considered for the rank of general. The words roll into silence, the kind that digs under the skin. King Ravik blinks, his lips parting in disbelief. Peak, tier 6? Just to be considered. The commander's smirk curves beneath the helm, faint but cutting. That's right. His voice drops into something colder, amused. To be honest, in this war only the generals are dispatched. Just the generals. He sweeps his gaze across them, letting the weight of his words sink in. And already, your continent is in chaos. The rulers freeze, the enormity of what he implies slamming into them. Chief Gorvok's teeth grind as he mutters. So this? He gestures at the commander, at the oppressive aura of tier 6 radiating off him. Isn't even enough for a general? The commander lets the silence answer for him. Salira's lips tighten, her eyes sharp as glass. A tier 6 is only a commander. She breathes out slowly, disbelief curling into something darker. Fear. King Malrik narrows his eyes, his voice low and bitter. In this continent, a tier 6 could rule. And here, you are but a commander. The commander tilts his head, that faint smirk never leaving. Now you begin to understand. The 5 rulers glance at each other, the same thought carved across their faces. What kind of kingdom have we come to kneel before? Salira breaks the silence, her voice softer than before, but edged with something that sounds almost like awe. His Majesty. Perhaps he comes from the main continent. The commander doesn't even turn his head. His voice, calm and iron-bound, cuts through the hall. No. But in the future, the main continent will kneel before His Majesty. The words crash against the 5 rulers like thunder. For a heartbeat, none of them breathe. Their minds race with the same unspoken thought. What a mad thing to say. The main continent, spoken of only in hushed legends, a place of gods and being far beyond mortal grasp. Their backwater land is nothing but a distant fringe. Even their empire, mighty as it seems, would be nothing but ants there. Everyone knows this. King Ravik clenches his jaw, his voice barely above a whisper. To claim even the main continent, Chief Gorvok said lowly. It's lunacy. Malrik does not speak, but his eyes narrow, weighing the commander's tone, not as bluster, but conviction. The commander does not elaborate, and the silence grows heavier as their footsteps echo across the polished stone. Finally, the air shifts. They approach the end of the hall, where 2 colossal doors rise before them. Black steel and obsidian carved with spirals of runes that pulse faintly like living veins. Each door is tall enough to swallow a fortress gate, and the pressure they exude makes the ruler's knees weaken. The commander steps forward, his gauntlet hand pressing against the runed surface. The colossal doors groan open, their sound like stone mountains splitting. Announcing. His voice booms through the vast chamber, carrying like thunder. The leaders of Ironfang, Black Spire, Wheezia, Kalen, and Raydel, here to offer their submission before His Majesty. The 5 rulers steel themselves as best they can. Pride clenches their jaws, but the moment the doors open wide, their breaths catch. Lining the great hall are 10 soldiers in gleaming golden armor, their helms wrought with monstrous visages, their weapons resting like towers against their shoulders. The pressure radiating from them leaves no room for doubt. Every one of them is tier 6. Between them, like a river of steel, march tier 5 elites, each standing rigid in perfect formation. The sheer display of discipline and strength is ceremonial, yet suffocating. King Ravik of Wheezia whispers harshly, "10 tier 6 soldiers? As guards?" Salira's sharp eyes dart over the line. Her voice trembles though she forces composure. And each of them shines with killing intent. These are no showpieces. They are warriors. Chief Gorvok mutters under his breath, tusks grinding. This is insanity. In our land, one of them could destroy a kingdom. And here, they stand in rows, like common sentries. The Black Spire King's lips thin, but he says nothing. The silence that grips him is not disbelief, but fear. Then their eyes shift forward, to the throne. Upon the obsidian dais, seated upon a throne carved of black crystal veined with gold, rests Alex, the king of monsters. Shadows cling to him like a second cloak, his very presence bending the air. His gaze is calm, piercing, detached. But what truly drives the ruler's hearts to ice are the four figures flanking him. Two on each side, monsters whose auras roar like oceans. Each one is a peak tier 6, their killing intent so sharp it feels as though a single thought could unravel their very lives. The five rulers feel their spines stiffen against the instinct to kneel. Their pride screams to stand tall, yet every instinct tells them to bow. King Ravik swallows hard, his voice low as he leans towards Salira. Each of those four, I can feel it. Any one of them could wipe us out. Salira's eyes never leave the throne. Her voice is calm, but her knuckles whiten against her robes. No, not just us. Our whole nations, clans. Chief Gorvok's tusks grind as sweat beads down his temple. Then what in the abyss does that make the one sitting on the throne? The Mazel's voice cuts the air, sharp and commanding. Kneel before his majesty, Alex, the king of Erevaris' kingdom. The words reverberate through the chamber, leaving the five rulers with no air to breathe. The moment the words crash through the vast chamber, the five rulers don't even think. Their bodies move before their pride can resist, survival instinct seizing control. One after another, they drop to their knees, the sound of armor and cloth striking the polished floor echoing beneath the vaulted ceiling. As if rehearsed, the five rulers speak in unison, their voices heavy with fear and forced reverence. We greet His Majesty. Chapter 283, 282. Wessian Kingdom, Raidel Kingdom, Ironfang Clan, Blackspire Kingdom, Kalen Clan. Chapter 283, Chapter 282. Wessian Kingdom, Raidel Kingdom, Ironfang Clan, Blackspire Kingdom, Kalen Clan. The silence that follows is suffocating. The only sound is the faint crackle of fire in the sconces and the dull hum of power radiating from the four peak tier 6 guardians by the throne. Alex's gaze sweeps over them, unreadable. Shadows curl faintly at his shoulders, shifting as though alive. For a long moment, he says nothing, simply letting the weight of his presence settle deeper into their bones. Then, at last, his voice comes. Calm, low, commanding. Rise. The single word cuts like steel. The rulers hesitate, then obey, pushing themselves upright with stiff motions. Their heads remain bowed slightly, unable to meet his eyes for long. Alex leans back slightly against his throne, one hand resting on its armrest. His gaze drifts across each of them as though measuring their worth. Welcome, he says, his tone smooth yet carrying the weight of an ocean. To my kingdom. The words settle into their ears like a decree, making clear that this is no longer a visit. They are no longer sovereigns in their own right. They stand here as subjects who chose survival over defiance. Alex's eyes narrow, the faint shimmer of his horns catching the firelight. His voice rolls through the throne room, even yet implacable. You're here to surrender? King Ravik of Wezia steps forward first. His cloak drags across the polished floor as he bows, voice firm though his hands tremble at his sides. Yes, your majesty. The Empire. It seems they have abandoned us. We do not wish for our legacies to die meaningless deaths. Alex tilts his head, studying him like one weighs a coin. A faint curl tugs at his lips. Then you did the right thing. After all. His gaze sweeps across them, sharp as a blade. We were already planning to destroy the five of you. A murmur of unease ripples through the rulers. It is Salira of Raidel who steadies herself enough to speak. Her silver crown gleams under the firelight as she lowers her head slightly, voice smooth, respectful, but edged with wariness. May we know what we are to give up? Should we join your kingdom? Alex answers without the slightest pause. His tone is calm, almost casual. Yet each word strikes like a decree etched into the marrow of their bones. Nothing. Except this, you will mobilize your forces when I command it. You will pay me 20 million gold coins each month. And, his gaze sharpens, voice sinking into something colder, heavier. You will abolish the slavery of monsters from your kingdoms and clans. Permanently. The hall falls silent. The image of their people dying, the screams of cities burning, flashes in each of their minds. Better to bleed coin than to bleed blood. Gorvok of Ironfang finally breaks the silence. His tusks gleam as he lifts his head slightly, voice deep and gravelly. We already did all that before coming here, your majesty. There are no monster slaves in our lands now. Alex regards him for a long moment, then gives a slow nod. That is good. He shifts slightly, raising a hand. His voice cuts like a bell. Gander. A moment later, a figure enters the throne room. Cloaked in black robe, Gander strides with precision and kneels before the throne. Alex's tone softens just slightly, carrying a rare note of warmth. This is Gander, my trusted subordinate. He will lead you to the feast we have prepared for you five. The rulers bow their heads deeper, voices uniting once more in trembling gratitude. We thank His Majesty for his generosity. Gander rises, gesturing toward the great doors at the far end of the chamber. The rulers follow, their steps heavy, their minds still reeling. Later, in a quieter chamber, Alex waits alone. The firelight from a single brazier casts long shadows against the walls. After some time, the door opens and Gander enters, bowing low. They're gone now, Your Majesty. Gander reports, his voice steady. I also gave them Tier 6 skill books. They said what we provided is more advanced than anything they currently possess. I mentioned, too, that with enough military points, they can exchange for Tier 7 skill books. A small smile crosses his face. That excited them more than anything else. Alex nods, his expression unreadable. Good. That should be enough to push them into action. If they're motivated by strength and survival, they'll turn their blades against their former allies soon enough. Gander inclines his head. They will, Your Majesty. The promise of Tier 7 power is more than enough bait. They won't hesitate. Alex leans back slightly, shadows curling around his frame. His tone is calm but final. Then let them prove their loyalty in blood. The news spreads like wildfire. The surrender of the 5 lower-ranked forces carries across the continent. Through whispers in taverns, shouts in marketplaces, and sealed reports on noble desks. In the council hall of the rest of the remaining forces, voices rise in fury. They dared to announce it like it was a triumph. One minister spits, slamming his palm against the table. Celebrating their surrender as though it were a gift to their people? Another counselor shakes his head, face pale. Not only celebrating, they promised prosperity. Claimed their clans and kingdoms will grow stronger than the empire itself under the monster's rule. The chamber erupts. Lies. Madness. Traitors. Yet, beneath the outrage, unease takes root. Reports arrive days later, letters smuggled from common folk. A nervous scribe reads aloud, his voice faltering. The citizens, at first they were terrified. But nothing happened. No executions, no destruction. Only monsters arriving in their cities, patrolling the streets. The leaders ordered them to be respected. And now, it is the people who bow. The room falls into stunned silence. Finally, a general growls, his jaw tight. So their people live. Their cities stand. And ours? He doesn't finish the thought, but the bitterness hangs heavy. A younger officer mutters, unable to contain himself. If their kingdoms are not burning, then how long before our own people start to wonder if surrender is the wiser choice? The question lingers, unspoken yet undeniable, as the news continues to ripple outward, toward the 9 remaining forces, and finally, the empire itself. The next day, the world wakes to another storm of news. From the central squares of Wessian Kingdom, Raidel Kingdom, Ironfang Clan, Blackspire, and Kalen Clan, great platforms are raised. Banners unfurl, crowds gather, suspicion and fear hanging in the air like a thick fog. King Ravik of Wesia steps forward first, his armor gleaming, his voice amplified by magic. People of Wesia, he declares, lifting his hand. A surge of aura radiating outward like a wave. Gasps ripple through the crowd as the unmistakable presence of a peak Tier 6 settles over them, heavy and suffocating. As of today, I have ascended. The crowd stares, stunned. For decades, his progress had stalled. Now, overnight, Ravik's voice grows firmer. This breakthrough is not mine alone. It is a gift from His Majesty Alex, the King of Monsters. Whispers ripple, some in awe, some in disbelief. From another platform, Salira of Raidel Kingdom speaks, her silver crown catching the sunlight. Her aura flares, sharp and crystalline, settling like a blade over the square. I too have stepped into the peak of Tier 6. This is proof of His Majesty's generosity. Proof that our alliance is not submission, but the key to prosperity. The crowds murmur louder now. In Ironfang Clan, Gorvok spreads his arms wide as his monstrous presence pours over the city, making warriors tremble. I have broken my chains, power that the Empire denied us. His Majesty granted in a single night. Tell me, who is stronger? The Empire who abandoned us? Or the King who raises us higher? Cheers erupt among the clan members, the sound rolling like thunder. In Blackspire Kingdom, King Malric's cold, sharp aura seeps through the streets, frost shimmering in the air. His voice is steady, commanding. The Empire sent nothing but taxes and chains. The King of Monsters gave us freedom and strength. Remember this well. Our future no longer lies in their shadow. And in Kalen Clan, Lord Kalen stands at the gates of his fortress city, lightning crackling faintly at his fingertips as he lets his aura crash over the gathered soldiers like a storm. Brothers, sisters, this is no trick. His Majesty's promise is real. I was stagnant for years. Now I stand as peak tier 6. You will see more. You will see all of us rise higher than the Empire ever allowed. Chapter 284, 283, Red Ember Clan. Chapter 284, Chapter 283, Red Ember Clan. The shock of their breakthroughs still hangs in the air when, only days later, the 5 rulers gather their councils and armies. In each hall, murmurs ripple among nobles and elders. Some protest, their pride clinging to the Empire like a rotting chain. But the rulers, now peak tier 6, silence them with presence alone. Weezia, Royal Council Hall. A noble slams his fist on the table. This is madness. To strike at the top rank. Do you intend to drag us all into the abyss? King Ravik rises slowly, his aura leaking into the chamber like a crushing tide. The nobles stagger, their voices choking in their throats. His eyes narrow. Treason. His voice is calm, iron-heavy. No. Treason was the Empire abandoning us. What we do now is survival. And survival means victory. The nobles fall silent. None dare argue further. Raidel clan keep. Salira sits at the head of a long table, her voice cool, her gaze sharp. An elder leans forward, voice shaking. Matriarch, surely there must be another way. To fight against the Empire's top allies is to invite destruction. Salira's aura sharpens, slicing through the air like glass. The elder gasps as if his breath is cut away. She speaks softly, but each word lands like a hammer. If you cannot stomach His Majesty's way, then you may leave. But know this, Raidel does not bow twice. Our clan follows my decision. The hall goes still. One by one, the elders lower their eyes in silence. Ironfang clan arena. Warriors gather, shouting in uproar. One tier 6 warrior said, "We have fought for the Empire for generations. To turn our blades now." Gorvok raises his hand. His aura slams into the ground like a quake, silencing the arena. His voice rumbles, deep and unyielding. "The Empire denied me power. His Majesty gave it freely. Who among you dares call that betrayal?" No one answers. The warriors lower their heads, fear and respect twisting into something else. Loyalty. Blackspire Kingdom. King Malric listens as his ministers argue, their voices sharp and frantic. "We cannot match the Empire. Even with your breakthrough, Majesty. Their strength is too vast." Frost creeps across the table, spreading under their hands. The room falls into silence as Malric's cold aura settles over them like a noose. His eyes gleam hard as ice. "Who said we fight alone? His Majesty will send aid to stand with us." No minister speaks again. Kaelin Fortress. Lord Kaelin stands before his generals, his voice booming like thunder. "The Empire is weak. Their chains are rusting. Do you think I would risk this if His Majesty had not proven his strength?" Lightning crackles along his arms, the scent of ozone heavy in the air. One hesitant general speaks. "And if the Empire retaliates?" Kaelin smiles, aura flaring like a storm breaking over the mountains. "Then we show them our new strength." His warriors roar their approval. And so, within mere days, the 5 rulers move as one. Armies march, banners rise, war horns echo through valleys. Monsters, discipline forged under Alex, march beside them. The night is quiet around the Ember Clan's territory. A pale moon hangs above, its glow catching the edges of the watchtowers that circle the city. The air smells faintly of ash and iron, the natural scent of the clan's lands. Inside one of the small towers on the outer ring, 2 Ember warriors, both tier 5, lean against the wooden railing, their spears propped beside them. Their armor glimmers faintly in the firelight of the braziers below. One scratches his chin, breaking the silence. "I heard a rumor that the 5 traitors are planning to attack us." His companion snorts, spitting into the dirt below. "I know. And guess who drew the short straw to be stuck on duty tonight? Unlucky bastards." The first warrior chuckles dryly, though his eyes linger uneasily on the dark forest stretching beyond the walls. "Those traitors aren't much to be afraid of, though." The second warrior shakes his head, a shadow crossing his face. His tone lowers. "The traitors don't worry me. It's the monsters. I heard whispers. They don't get tired. They move like one too." The first scoffs, though his hand drifts to his spear, gripping it a little tighter. "Fairy tales to scare us. If they do come, we'll—" His words stop. The brazier's flame flickers, though there's no wind. A sudden, unnatural stillness settles over the night. Then, from the corners of the watchtower, shadows ripple like spilled ink. Figures emerge, silent, cloaked in black. Their blades glint for the briefest instant, moonlight catching on steel before the strikes land. The two warriors don't even have time to shout. A thin line of red blooms across their throats, breath dying in silence. Their bodies slump against the railing, eyes wide, as the shadows slip past them like smoke. Across the outer ring of the city, the same scene unfolds. Dozens of watchtowers, dozens of Ember warriors, Tier 3, Tier 4, even Tier 5 stand guard. None raise an alarm. None even realize the danger until their vision goes dark. The shadows of the Monster King move as one, emerging simultaneously across every post. Not a whisper escapes. Not a single horn is blown. By the time the moon reaches its peak, the entire first line of defense around Ember City lies silent. Every warrior dead where they stood, unaware their city's doom has already begun. Even in the dead of night, Ember City is far from quiet. The clan knows the monsters may strike at any moment, and as the rank 10, they are the likeliest target. Torches burn along the walls, patrols march in tight rotations, and at the very heart of the defenses, in a reinforced chamber, the shield control room hums faintly with power. A lattice of runes spreads across the chamber's floor and walls, glowing with ember-red light. This formation powers the great barrier that blankets the city. At its center stands a lone warrior of the Red Ember clan, a Tier 6 guardian, armored in obsidian-etched steel, his eyes never leaving the flow of energy around him. His task is simple: protect the heart of the shield, no matter the cost. But he is not alone. From the corners of the chamber, the shadows ripple like living tar. Two figures step out as if peeled from the darkness itself. Cloaked, silent, their eyes faintly glowing violet beneath their hoods. Grell and Tarvin from the Umbral race, both newly risen to Tier 6. The hum of the barrier fills the control room like a heartbeat, steady and unbroken. The Guardian keeps his eyes on the formation, unaware that death already coils around him. From the walls, Grell and Tarvin peel free of the shadows, their chitinous exoskeletons absorbing the light until they look like living voids. Their voices are low, more felt than heard. We end this quickly. No noise. The plan holds. We use it. The two Umbral stalkers move like liquid night. Their claws slide along the stone without a sound, their eyeless faces twitching slightly as the sensory pits along their heads register the Guardian's steady movements, the flow of heat and mana within his body. The Guardian shifts, muttering under his breath, unaware. Humph. Quiet tonight. Too quiet. Maybe the rumors were just fear-mongering. He adjusts his gauntlet and leans against his spear. The barrier pulses, casting ember-red reflections across his armor. From opposite sides of the chamber, Grell and Tarvin exchange a glance, or what passes for one between their kind. Grell's whisper crawls through the shadows. We begin. Tarvin nods once. His claws flex, and his mana flares in perfect synchronization with Grell's. Dark runes coil up their limbs, feeding into one another until a single sigil forms in the air between them. Shadow convergence. The joint skill they purchased with the military points. The chamber seems to inhale. The barrier's glow dims for an instant as the room itself bends, shadows stretching unnaturally. From the fused sigil, a blade of absolute darkness begins to form, long, jagged, writhing with tendrils that eat away at the light. The weapon hums with killing intent, a spear forged to pierce not just flesh but spirit. The Guardian stiffens. His instincts scream. His head jerks toward the shifting air. Who's there? Too late. Grell and Tarvin move as one, their bodies dissolving into streaks of black fog. They reappear beside him, the fused shadow spear thrusting straight toward his heart. The impact is devastating. Chapter 285-284. Barth, clan leader of the Red Ember clan. The spear drives through his armor as if it were paper, the explosion of shadow punching through his chest and smashing him against the far wall. Stone cracks. Blood sprays across the glowing formation. But he is Tier 6. He does not fall so easily. With a roar that rattles the runes, the Guardian grips the shaft of shadow still impaled in him, his aura igniting in an inferno of scarlet flame. His eyes blaze, teeth bared. You think you can end me in silence? The pressure of his unleashed power slams into the chamber, rattling Grell and Tarvin back a step. The shadows recoil, hissing against the sudden blaze of fire aura. Tarvin snarls, claws spreading as he prepares to finish it. Strike again before he calls. But the Guardian's free hand slams against the rune-inscribed pedestal. His blood smears across the glowing stone, and the formation flares violently. Boom! A thunderous gong echoes across Ember City. The alarm. Not far from Ember City, the night trembles with a different kind of weight. 1,000,000 strong gather under the pale moon, humans and monsters alike, their banners fluttering, their weapons gleaming. The sound of marching feet and snorting beasts has long since quieted. Now they wait, coiled like a single beast ready to strike. It is less a carriage and more a moving fortress, drawn by 6 colossal scaled beasts, their breath steaming in the night. Inside, the air hums with authority. Alex sits at the head, his presence alone bending the space. Around him are the 5 newly loyal rulers, Ravik, Salira, Gorvok, Malrik, and Kalen, and standing next to Aeliz is Mazel. His aura is overwhelming. The sudden toll of the alarm bell from Ember City rolls through the night, low and heavy, reaching even this distant host. The rulers tense, exchanging wary looks. Mazel bows his head, his voice steady. They rang the alarm, my lord. King Malrik's cold eyes narrow, a hint of frost clinging to his breath. Did Grell and Tarvin fail? For a moment, silence reigns. All eyes shift to Alex. His expression doesn't change, but his crimson gaze flicks toward the city in the distance, as though piercing through walls, through stone, through blood. When he speaks, his tone is calm, cutting through the tension like a blade. They didn't fail. The rulers straighten, surprised. Alex leans back against the dark cushions, voice steady, absolute. The alarm rings, but the shield does not rise. That means the core is broken. His lips curl faintly, almost a smile. They succeeded. The rulers exchange looks again, this time with awe and fear. Gorvok lets out a low, tusk chuckle. Efficient killers. Worthy as his majesty's subordinates. Alex raises a hand, his presence suddenly surging like a tidal wave, pressing down on all of them. His words are simple, undeniable. Go. Attack Ember City now. The command cracks through the carriage like thunder. The 5 rulers rise at once, voices uniting as they bow. As his majesty commands. Outside, horns blare. War drums pound. The million-strong host begins to move, a wave of steel, claw, and scale rolling toward the city. The ground trembles beneath their march, the moon swallowed by banners and dust. From his carriage, Alex watches silently, eyes glinting like twin embers. The night belongs to him. The Ember City burns with restless light. Torches blaze along the walls, the glow of fire mana humming through the streets as warriors rush to their posts. The alarm still echoes like a heartbeat through the night, beating fear into the hearts of civilians and urgency into the veins of soldiers. From the highest terrace of the Ember Lord's manor, a figure descends in a streak of crimson flame. His cloak of burning embers trails behind him as he lands in the central square with a heavy impact that cracks the stones beneath his boots. His aura erupts like a volcano. Brarth, clan leader of the Red Ember clan, peak tier 6. His fiery gaze scans the chaos, searching. Almost instantly, another streak of flame cuts through the night sky. A warrior clad in scarlet armor lands beside him, his aura fierce and steady. A peak tier 6 battle-hardened warrior of the clan. One after another, 5 more descend, their auras ranging from low to high tier 6. Each bears the mark of the Ember bloodline. Flame woven into their very flesh, sparks leaking from their eyes, skin glowing faintly with fire essence. But even with all of them gathered, tension coils tight in the air. Bartha's voice erupts like a volcano. Why is the shield not activated? At the edge of the square, a group of mages kneels hurriedly, their robes drenched in sweat. The head mage, a peak tier 5, bows so low his forehead nearly touches the scorched stones. His voice trembles. "Yes, sir. The shield cannot be raised. The core has been destroyed." A silence falls, heavy and disbelieving. The peak tier 6 snarls, stepping forward, his fiery aura flaring in fury. "What happened to Takani?" The head mage swallows hard, his eyes filled with shame. He is dead, my lord. But before he fell, he managed to ring the alarm. The revelation hangs like smoke. For a breath, none speak. Then Bartha's jaw tightens, his aura burning hotter, his voice a guttural roar. "Takani, your sacrifice will not be in vain." Before anyone can respond, Ruhar. The sound rips through the night, a bestial cry that shakes the walls themselves. In the distance, beyond the gates, the dark horizon erupts in fire and light. Spells arc through the sky like falling stars, bolts of lightning, torrents of frost, blazing orbs of destruction. Skills clash midair in a storm of color, and the sound of 10,000 marching feet thunders closer and closer. Then impact. The first wave of projectiles slams against Ember City's walls. The explosions shake the stone foundations, dust raining down as flames lick the battlements. Screams rise from the guards scrambling to hold position. Bartha's eyes ignite with fury. He raises his arm high, flames surging from his body in a tidal wave. His voice is a command that leaves no room for hesitation. Defensive formations. Mages, fortify the walls. Warriors, use your defensive skills now. The gathered tier 6 warriors obey instantly, their voices uniting in a battle cry. Scarlet shields of fire blossom across the walls, layers of flaming barriers roaring into existence. Spells of molten stone and burning wards surge upward, weaving together into a blazing dome over the city. The night itself turns red, the fire of the Ember Clan pushing back the shadows that close in around them. The monsters and humans do not falter. Through the rain of fire barriers, their combined host surges forward like a living tide, an endless mass of claw, steel, and spell. From the walls, the Ember Warriors gape in disbelief. Humans, marching with monsters. Who would have thought? One soldier said, voice breaking. But reality crashes down with every step of the advancing army. The impossible stands before their eyes. Human banners and monstrous roars intertwined, united under one banner, the Monster Kings. The captain of the Ember Clan glares down from the battlements, fire burning in his eyes. He lifts his sword, wreathed in flame, and bellows across the walls. Kill the traitors. Burn these monsters that dare set foot on our continent. A deafening roar of agreement surges from the Red Ember Warriors. Fear hardens into rage, despair into resolve. Their blood ignites at the thought of betrayal. The clang of blades and the rumble of fire spells intensify as the defenders prepare to strike back with everything they have. Then, 5 shadows streak across the sky. Gorvok, Malrik, Kalen, Salira, and Ravik descend from the heavens, their auras splitting the air as they land in a burning arc before Barth. The air quakes from their presence, the firelit night bending under the pressure of 5 peak Tier 6, freshly risen to their new heights. Gorvok grin glints in the firelight. His voice rumbles like stone grinding against stone. Long time no see, Barth. Barth's fiery cloak whips around him, his eyes narrowing to burning slits. You traitors. You 5 actually bowed your heads to a monster? Just for power. Salira laughs, cold and sharp, her silver hair flowing with violet flame. What do you know? We gave the Empire our loyalty for centuries. Yet they starved us, gave us scraps while they fattened you rank 10s. His Majesty gave us what we needed, what we deserved. Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.